All right, let's dive into a topic that's, well, it's pretty heavy, but it's also incredibly important. We're going to talk about the psychology of the child who feels singled out, even hated in their own family. I mean, really think about it. Maybe you've seen it with your friends, or maybe it's something you felt yourself. There's always one kid who seems to catch all the blame, who never gets the same praise as their siblings. We have a simple label for this, don't we? We call them the problem child. But that label, it doesn't even begin to tell the real story. In psychology, there's a much more accurate term for what's actually going on. And that term is the scapegoat child. This isn't just about being treated unfairly once in a while. No, this is a consistent role. The child literally becomes the designated container for all the family's issues. A lot of the time, this is because of something called projection, where other family members subconsciously dump their own failures or bad feelings onto that child. So what does that actually do to a person over the long haul? Well, the impact it's profound. It creates these invisible wounds that they carry with them, often for the rest of their lives. These scars can literally shape their entire identity, their relationships, everything. Let's break down what that looks like. First and foremost, and this is the big one, they grow up with this deep, fundamental question about their own worth. I mean, if the people who are supposed to love you most are constantly criticizing you, you internalize that. You start to believe, something must just be wrong with me. And here's the really heartbreaking thing about this. That feeling, it's sticky. It doesn't just vanish when they grow up and become successful. No way. Even when they're winning at life, there's still that quiet little voice inside them saying, you're still not good enough. This whole environment creates a whole set of internal battles. Being judged constantly makes them hyper-aware, so they're always analyzing every little thing they say and do. And because their first relationships were a source of pain, trusting other people becomes, well, almost impossible. All that hyper-awareness and distrust just fuels this endless cycle of overthinking. So, how do you cope with that kind of upbringing? You have to find a way to adapt, right? It turns out people tend to go down one of two very different looking paths. On one side, you have the people pleaser. This is the person who spends their life trying to earn the love they never got. On the complete other side, you have the rebel, who just rejects the whole idea of approval. They decide, forget it, I'm not even going to try. They look like polar opposites, right? But here's the crucial thing. Both of these reactions spring from the exact same wound, that deep, unmet need to just be accepted for who they are. Okay, when you lay it all out like that, it can feel pretty bleak. It kind of makes you wonder, are they just stuck with these patterns forever? Is it a life sentence? The answer is no, absolutely not. And funny enough, the way out often starts with a skill they were forced to learn from the very beginning: independence. See, they learn really young that they can't count on anyone else for emotional support. So they learn to rely on themselves for comfort, for validation, for everything. Now, from the outside, this can look like incredible strength. But it's so important to remember this independence was built for survival. It wasn't a choice. Now we get to the turning point. Because these patterns were learned, it means they can be unlearned. It all starts with step one, just acknowledging what happened, realizing it wasn't you. Then comes the hard work, step two, actively unlearning all those toxic messages to rebuild your sense of self-worth. And that leads to the most powerful step of all, step three, redefining your story. It's about finally understanding that your past explains you, sure, but it absolutely does not get to define you. And this is where the story gets amazing. Because out of all that struggle, a kind of hidden strength starts to emerge. In a weird way, the biggest wound can forge the biggest superpower. The unexpected outcome for so many people who heal from this is a pretty incredible set of strengths. They develop this deep resilience because, well, they've been through it all. They have this profound empathy because they know what pain feels like. That hyper-awareness they had, it transforms into this really perceptive understanding of people, and all of it together builds an unbelievable mental strength. It really boils down to this incredible paradox. The very thing that was meant to break them can actually be turned into their most powerful asset. So I'll just leave you with this question. Knowing that some of the most resilient, empathetic people out there forged that strength in the fire of rejection, how does that change how you see strength, not just in others, but in yourself?